It's Christmas and the weather is against Ollie Williams as he shoots pheasants at Three Valleys in Wales.
This is about the worst weather we could have.
There won't be snow in Africa, which is lucky because we have to take off our shoes and socks so we can stalk into a herd of buffalo.
That's the allure of buffalo hunting.
What's the government up to with firearms licensing and a lead shot? We look back over 2024 and forward to 2025.
We have been asking for a meeting with the policing minister since the election and have been refused at every turn.
River Monsters star Jeremy Wade is the subject of our podcast this week. Will Hogan is talking about Swazi clothing and David is on the new stump. Welcome to Fieldsports Britain. This is not the view that Ollie Williams was hoping to see today. He has come to the famous Three Valleys shoot deep in the rugged countryside of the Welsh Marches. He is looking forward to pitting his skills against some of the most challenging pheasants in the world. For now, at least, we're going nowhere, grounded by thick fog that even the Met Office didn't see coming. Our host, Dan Wells, explains it's not that we can't see the birds.
Generally, the birds don't know where they're going, so they'll end up towering and then they just won't fly. You know, it gets in their eyes, they can't see where they're going and they don't like it. And so, you know, I think the one thing that I really push for here is that we're sporting and, you know, you could go out and shoot in this, but there's no sport in it at all. No. And I don't think there's any joy in it for the gun stood there either. So, yeah, this is about the worst weather we could have, actually.
Yeah. It does feel like it's brightening up.
Yeah, I think it will clear.
I can now see a tree 30 yards away, which is...
Believe it or not, there's a beautiful mountain behind us. But,
Anyway. We break out the 11s and hope that the fog will lift. Ollie is sharing a peg with his best man at his recent wedding, Charlie Rolls, one of three friends who run the Fulham Shooting Club in London.
Make it short.
Really short?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Well, it's short. We basically introduce people to shooting who don't have the means or the means to actually get into shooting, as it's inherently quite difficult to get into.
In the city as well.
Especially in the city. So we're based out of Fulham, and we've got over 150 members now, and we're actually getting people to get their own licences and get into game shooting across the UK.
It's so important because, you know, shooting is an ageing sport. Yes. One of the main things about shooting is that the fact that the vast majority of guns are probably over the age of 50, if not 60.
But that's what we're trying to change.
Yeah.
So
anyway, we're here at Three Valleys, which is a beautiful, picturesque, apparently, estate.
It's burning through.
Is it?
No, maybe.
Well, the keeper has just come in and said 20 minutes, we're good to go. So that's a good sign.
Touching wood.
Sure enough, a short while later, we're heading out through the drizzle to the first drive.
Unbelievably, we're here. It is 12:05, so we've waited for the fog to lift, and it's lifted, as you can see, enough to shoot. And the birds they've just started to fill a filter in, so yeah, let's see what we can do.
Ollie is shooting his William Powell side by side with Ely VIP game cartridges. To keep recoil manageable, he chooses 30-gram 5s, which he finds adequate even on the higher birds. Ollie and Charlie swap over between shooting and loading every half a dozen shots.
You're right. Rolls on your right. So the fog's actually just high enough that only one towered, which is what Dan was worrying about earlier on, where they just take off and fly and just keep them flying up. Yeah. Other than that, it was a very, very testing drive. I mean, And because they were seeing us late as well, they fly over, see us, and then do a strange turn. So yeah, it gave us a lot to think about. But I think we made a pretty good account for ourselves, didn't we, Charlie?
First, right?
So
First day of the season for me.
yeah.
Dan is in touch with the keeper by radio and decides the fog has lifted enough that we can move up to the higher ground.
It was peace soup and now it's cleared up again.
Yeah, we're gonna go onto pegs.
Yeah.
They're waiting back a bit. Give it 30 seconds or so, and then
Cool.
they're gonna run.
Yeah, good idea. There's something out of the hound with the Baskervilles, isn't it? At the moment, we're dealing with a constant flurry of upping and downing, so the mist is now cleared up again, just in time for the drive. So you can see where they're driving the birds out of, but we've got gaps in the conditions that we can work with. Dan's doing an amazing job of actually finding what drives is clear, what drives is dead. This drive is clear enough. So even now, as we're talking, you can see, well, those sheep are now there that they weren't there a minute ago. I could have told you that. So so you can just see the birds filtering in the top here. Here they go, here they come. And partridges as well, Charlie.
Second barrel, you mug. I forgot.
Swap.
One more swap.
Oh, look at that!
It makes it more fun.
You don't have to worry about
It is more fun, it's more sporting. Here we go, oh my goodness me. James, look at this. Go on. Oh my God,
it. There's so many problems.
I have absolutely no idea where to put the gun. Here we go, Rod's got the shot at you.
Oh, got it. Oh my God, Rose. What the hell?
Rod, more. Right and left. What's a right and left? Dan, go home happy now. Yeah. So, I mean, fair play to you, mate, because it's seriously challenging conditions to drive pheasants in, but they are flying. It's actually almost at a sweet spot where it's helping it. Because we'll all just go that high.
You can also see them all and it marks them all, because they're like behind a white background.
This is extraordinarily good. Look at it. Here we go. Ross, coming straight at me. It's going to turn. What a drive. What a drive. Yeah, it was awesome. And again, these are top-end pheasants, and I'm using 30-gram 5s through a side-by-side. So I actually did. It's fair to say I hit a couple, isn't it?
A few, yes.
So I don't believe this. Oh, you need to use 38-gram 1s. It's just not the case. Lara, come here. He says, I'm only picking hens today. Good girl, bring it in. Good girl. Go back.
As the pickers-up sweep the hillside behind us, we move on to the final drive. It's one of Three Valleys' signature drives, named Heaven or Hell. The fog obscures what would normally be a fabulous view up the valley.
Oh, my God. Shot, and again. Go on. Top over. We got some cracking sport in the end, but yeah, we were battling the weather constantly. The fog was just lifting and falling and lifting and falling. They were flying and they could sort of see where they were going, but you couldn't see them for the last minute. So you got these stratospheric pheasants. I mean, I'm talking stratospheric, and they're coming out of the clouds and they're literally on top of you before you have a chance. I mean, in one of the drives, the only warning I got was that there was a flush coming, is because other guns were firing, and you know, it's they're on top of us. So it was very tricky, but yeah, absolutely phenomenal sport in the end, and a phenomenal day shooting at a beautiful part of the world. So couldn't ask for more.
You can find the Three Valleys shoot at Guns on Pegs, link below. And for more about Ely cartridges, see elyhawkltd.com.
Thank you all who took part in that. Not
All the comments about our shooting film from Slovakia last week were entirely positive. Do you have views about this kind of shooting, the one we saw in Wales? If so, the comments section is in its usual place below. And this week's Fieldsports Extra competition is for a couple of useful items for the big game hunter who has to reload quickly. Here's a description. You have had made up a double rifle, a really simple and effective double rifle sling. Where did you get the idea from?
Actually from a friend of mine in Spain, because in the olden days, like maybe 100 years ago, this is how the shotgun slings looked in Spain. The advantage of this thing is that it's noise proof. So it's noise proof, and the traditional one is not. That sound scares off a buffalo. I think it's fundamental for noise management. And when we have this quick loader, it's basically a quick loader, so if you shoot your double rifle, if you eject, you just put it in and it's quite quick.
We're giving away a fast cartridge loader and a fast rifle sling. Become a Fieldsports member now with insurance and watch our exclusive members only show, Fieldsports Extra, to find out how to enter our free competition to win them. Now, as clear as a high pheasant on a foggy day, it's David on the Fieldsports Channel News Stump.
This is Fieldsports Channel News. The government's Christmas present to the countryside has been confirmed, a £400 hike in gun certificate charges. Last week, the policing minister announced a range of measures for the police budget. On the 20th of December 2024, the Home Office confirmed it would adopt them without consultation. It plans to do this by statutory instrument, the method the government has for railroading through new regulations. The charges could come into force in 2025.
Well, we've got an urgent request into her. We're talking to rural Labour MPs. We're talking to people at senior levels in the party who are supportive of shooting. And hopefully we can bring enough pressure to bear to ensure that any rise in fees, which we all accept ought to happen, but not before the inefficiencies are dealt with, are done properly, with proper consultation and in a transparent fashion.
And there's more on this story in our 2024 roundup later in the show. Cumbria Wildlife Trust has bought a 3,000-acre estate. The Trust's purchase of Skiddaw is the latest in a year of major taxpayer-backed land purchases by wildlife trusts. Asking price was a reported £10 million. In the biggest land sale in England for 30 years, the Wildlife Trusts and Northumberland Wildlife Trust bought 9,500 acres of the 11,500 acres of the Rothbury estate, with an option to buy the rest. Guide price was £35 million, and the purchase was part funded by government. The UK's Channel 4 has run yet another story on the Warwickshire hunt. The news network has now run 3 stories on the hunt since March, all by the same reporter. The top line of the story is that local police consulted with the local hunt over policing of both hunters and hunt sabs. Channel 4 has repeatedly tried to paint the consultations as a secret deal between police and a hunt. The stories give Channel 4 an opportunity to run footage supplied by hunt saboteurs. The network has run no stories condemning hunt sab violence. Last week, militant vegan campaign group Viva announced it is running an advertising campaign on Channel 4. Thanks to Guy Singleton for the story. If you're looking to support and attend a Boxing Day meet, here's a guide. The Countryside Alliance has produced a useful interactive map. Boxing Day meets are taking place across the country on Thursday the 26th of December 2024. Large crowds gathering in town centres and on village greens on Boxing Day are a familiar scene, which are an essential part of the hunting year, enabling hunts to demonstrate the important part they play within local communities. Link below to find yours. The media has already started surrounding the meets, with Ed Swales from Hunting Kind appearing on this item on GB News. Hampshire Police is accepting the RSPB's line that gamekeepers are involved in bird crimes. The Constabulary ran an article in its new rural crime magazine under the headline UK Bird Crime Showing No Signs of Stopping. Reprinted from the magazine of bird rights organisation the RSPB, the article stresses the impact of bird crime on our UK species and blames the owners of shooting estates and grouse moors. The police reprint the RSPB's allegations that bird crime is increasing, even though the RSPB's own figures show that it's going down. Thanks to Declan Daly for the story. And finally, it's the mystery rocking rural Derbyshire. The owners of a small village's family-run gun shop were the targets of a peculiar prank, or could it be something more sinister, or more generous? The shop's CCTV footage captured a cloaked individual hanging dead game birds on the shop's window. Jack Hallam's Sons in Whaley Bridge was the target of the peculiar attack, though the owner has taken it in good humour. He does wonder who could have been behind the incident. The small business is one of the oldest shops in Whaley Bridge, operating since 1935, but has never seen anything quite like this before. You are now up to date with Fieldsports Channel News. Stalking the stories, fishing for facts, and happy Christmas.
Thank you, David, who asks all viewers to like this video and subscribe to Fieldsports Channel. Thank you. Fieldsportscompetitions.co.uk, our raffles website, has a new round of prizes, all available at highly reasonable ticket prices. Next, what's the best way to approach an angry Cape buffalo? Take off your shoes and socks, apparently. Silence is not only golden, it's essential when you're hunting buffalo. At the Northern Cape Professional Hunting School, the students learn to stalk barefoot in order to reduce noise. Here's course leader Meinhard Herold.
Okay, our scouting party. So that specific bull we want to hunt in front of us here. From us it's about 600 meters.
This is the culmination of the school's week-long How to Hunt Buffalo course. Now, I'm sure I don't need to say it, but I will anyway. Buffalo are among the deadliest of Africa's big five dangerous game. We are learning a multitude of skills: how to track them, how not to scare them away, and how to avoid spooking them into a charge.
If buffalo tongue is very, very fresh, it's a greenish color and it turns black very quickly. But if you see buffalo tongue with a green color, then you know. Okay, don't look with your binoculars now because the sun is going to reflect.
Meinhard reckons only 1 in 250 buffalo hunts end in a charge, but that means his students will encounter charges during their working careers. Today we are hunting one specific out-of-condition bull that's in a herd of watchful animals. As we reach the top of the rise, we hear a thundering sound from over it.
Unfortunately, on the last moment, the wind turned and they smelled us. So that's a bad thing when you're hunting with a little wind.
The view on the other side is magnificent, but devoid of buffalo. So begins a game of cat and very large mouse. We set up a watch point on top of the kopje. It is not long before we are rewarded with our first clear sight of our quarry. They are not sure that we are a threat and continue on their way around the hill.
But at this moment there are 3 bulls together, and the one we want to shoot, you can see his hips sticking out.
By now we have our boots back on. The group sets off at pace to intercept them. Then we check.
Okay, the plot thickens. Another bull went with him, so they are 4 now. They're about 300 meters in front of us, but they are in that thick bush. So I think what we're gonna do is we're just gonna sit here and try and hope that they feed out of that bush again, and then we'll go in.
Sitting here doesn't last long. After a short forced march, it is back to slow and quiet as we push into thorn bushes. There's an animal less than 100 yards ahead of us.
I think they are just in this little valley here. That bush is very thick, very, very thick.
After moving slowly through the thorns, the shooter, one of the lads on the course who won the lottery to be the client for the purposes of this hunt, plus his first and second professional hunters, or PHs, set up with rifles. It's a tense wait.
Yeah, that 3 bulls are pretty spooky now. They in that bush. Okay, so and they probably gonna lie down there. We are in the zone now, so we must just be very quiet. if we get closer than 30 meters or 30 meters and closer, I want you to put the shooting sticks away. If you see that you're gonna get close, put the shooting sticks down. Okay with that, and then you shoot it out of the shoulder. Okay.
Eventually, Meinhardt reckons no clear shot will present. We're off, and just as quickly, we find the animals. Client and PHs move to set up. It's nail-biting as the buffalo walks out in front of us. The shot is easy, it's just 70 yards. But this is education, not a real client situation. Meinhardt wants us much, much closer to the buffalo we shoot. We can't walk into this one without spooking it. After a standoff, we let it walk on its way.
I've been after this buffalo now for, I think, about 4 hours. But we are losing concentration now. And that's exactly when you get that. So we must get our concentration up. Go slowly.
Back onto the stalk, and we cut off the group of animals again. They're on the move. For the second time, they are just 70 yards away from us. Even a buffalo groan from Meinhardt doesn't turn them.
Oh!
We move, hoping to get ahead of them. When Meinhardt says stop, he means stop. This is the last we see of the buffalo this morning. They disappear into the hills.
Charlie, I think it's just we want to shoot to be very close. So, to shoot it at 150 meters, it's not cricket, like you say. we want to be close. With the students, we try to get less than 50 meters. Yeah. Otherwise, you could just as well shoot a springbok or a blue wildebeest, and there's no danger factor in it.
Regrouping at the vehicles, we set out again. We are all aware that we have stirred up the buffalo. Not only will they be harder to find now, but once found, they could be more aggressive. This time it takes us until late in the afternoon to locate them. They're still too far for the shot that Meinhardt wants. We can't get close enough. Meinhardt tries something that works occasionally, but we're in last resort territory. A block stalk where the group moves towards the animals as one. Shoes are off. It doesn't work. As the light goes, we stop for the day and get the welcome sight of 2 of the PHs returning with our shoes. This is thorny ground, and it's not until the adrenaline stops pumping that you notice. Needless to say, there is no shortage of buffalo on the drive home. Day 2 begins in darkness. It's 3:30 in the morning. Concentration has to start now. Rifles must be checked, double-checked, and loaded. Not knowing where to look for the animals, our first move is to gain height and scout. By the time we get to the top of the best copy, it's daylight.
Okay, it's the second day. We got up 3 o'clock this morning and we climbed the highest mountain on the property. And the view is spectacular. And we've already spotted 4 bulls. And I think it's the bulls we're after. So we're just going to wait 5 minutes and then we're going to go in on them. The time is 5:20.
We follow their sign, staying high and keeping out of sight of them.
Tracks are quite fresh. It's just after the rain this morning. So, I don't think they're too far ahead of us.
The small group does what we hoped and leads us to the herd.
I suspect they're going to feed down this valley, the same as this bull did now. So we're going to try and get in position and see if we can get a shot. But the nice thing is what happened is all the water buck ran away and they were a problem for us, but luckily they're gone now.
Once more, off with the shoes and to the best and closest cover. A rock downwind of the herd. There's still plenty to go wrong. We are a big group and the slightest sound will provoke them. So far it looks like they are unaware of us. A PH hands a rifle to the client, Andre, who is already an experienced PH himself with plenty of buffalo to his name. He is here to hone his skills as a buffalo PH. You can see the poor condition of the bull we're out to shoot today. Now it is a question of waiting for it to present a clear shot and hoping that it's a clean shot. It is spot on.
Wait. Okay.
That was absolutely amazing. We had an early start this morning and a beautiful stalk, shot at about 40-50 meters. So very happy and very, very privileged. Well, we were basically just waiting for him to give us a nice shot to open up his shoulder. They were kind of feeding into us, so we were waiting for him to clear from the others and just to give us a nice broadside shot. I grew up with it, but yeah, we learned a lot on the course.
Andre has a remarkable PH assisting him in this hunt. Zach Badat is South Africa's extreme fighting welterweight champion and on his way to a world title. He is keen on hunting and is also here to learn the art of buffalo PHing.
So the job's PH, especially in a buffalo hunt, is to ensure that you, number one, get the client in a safe spot as close to the buffalo as can to make the most ethical shot on the animal. Take into consideration that the buffalo has great sense of hearing, so you've got to be very careful when you're making your final stalk to be as quiet as possible and to be as patient as possible so that you get the right moment to take the right shot. And the wind was a bit difficult today. We had to be very slow and steady and kind of work with it, and thankfully the hunting gods looked upon us favorably. I guess that's the allure of buffalo hunting. If it was easy, it wouldn't have as much of a magical aura that it does. I think buffalo hunting speaks to the spirit of the original man, the sense of conquering danger against all the odds, and I think that's why getting as close to a buffalo as possible before taking the shot is the ultimate goal or stalk on any dangerous game.
Meinhardt is pleased with his class's efforts.
They did well. I think we did we made the essence to get close to buffalo. I think his shot was at 40 meters, and he shot it with a double rifle, a Heim double rifle, I must say. So
you would say that, wouldn't you? Yes. You're taking a younger generation, and you are putting them in the way of harm, and then you're taking them away from harm afterwards, which is quite a big responsibility.
Yeah, it is a big responsibility, Charlie, and it's a big risk. And but this is the only way to prepare them for real life. So you have to swim to learn to swim.
Of course, he has to get in a plug for Heim rifles. He's wearing the cap. Meinhardt also teaches the value of having a second PH during a buffalo hunt.
You're there for the backup shot and for the dangerous situation, just to help out when it's dangerous.
You're a second pair of eyes.
Yeah, second pair of eyes and
a second gun.
Yeah, that's all that's your job.
We give the animal time to go down before we go and look for it. It's run less than 100 metres. It's a good shot, and there is no doubt that Andre, the Heim double rifle, and Woodley Round did their joint job dispatching it. It's worth a little prayer.
Dear God, thank you that nobody got hurt, and thank you for the privilege of being able to hunt.
Meinhardt's son Kuti manages to get a vehicle up to this plateau. Then there is the matter of getting the carcass loaded and back out of the hills and down to the valley floor. That means clearing the road of big rocks. If Toyota needed it, it's another good advert for their backies. If you would like to go on the Northern Cape Professional Hunting School Buffalo course, visit ncph.co.za for details.
Thanks all who took part in that, especially Edwin Carney, who did most of the filming. And once again, thanks to Safari Club International, which supported that trip, and I hijacked the proposal that they agreed so I could make that film. Back in the UK, there's a Fieldsports Live 2.0 coming up in Cambridgeshire. It's on the 17th of January 2025 at Castor Village Hall outside Peterborough. Doors open at 7 p.m. Fieldsports Live is our 90-minute touring show with a bar and food. It's all about telly, acting, a game show. It's even got music. Tickets are free to members. Link below for tickets to non-members, which are a tenner. Now, our podcast this week is one of my favourite interviews of the year. Jeremy Wade, who hosts River Monsters on the Box, talks to me back in July 2024 at the Cartagena Game Fair Theatre.
It was quite funny because what I was trying to do there, this was a little pond off the Bristol Avon, and I was trying to surface with my eyes open And doing that slowly, and there's all that duckweed on the surface, and I was getting this duckweed sort of on my eyelashes and in my eyes, and it was really hard to keep my eyes open. And after that picture there, we've got other pictures. I'm lying on the ground. I'm sort of crying like a baby because I'm sort of half blind, and one of my assistants is pouring mineral water in my eyes, trying to flush my eyes. So we thought that was slightly more appropriate for the website.
Thanks, Jeremy, and there's a link to the full film below. Now, as we reach the end of 2024, it's been a rum year for firearms licensing. Let's have a look at what happened. We start with a medal off. 2 shooting Olympic gold winners with their medals. Competitive, these two. Who has the biggest one?
Me.
Who's heaviest? Go on.
I think mine might be heavier, but Pete's maybe looks slightly bigger.
Peter Wilson won gold for Olympic double trap at London 2012. Nathan Hales won gold for Olympic trap at Paris 2024. Team GB has won 6 medals for shooting in the last 4 Olympics, putting the sport at the halfway point on the GB medal table compared to other sports. That alone makes it a good year for shooting sports. Let's just take us from January the 1st to now. What was your year like?
It's been pretty hectic. A lot of training, a lot of hard work. Started training sort of January, February time. Went to Qatar for a Grand Prix to start the year off and to sort of gauge where we were at on the build up to the Olympics. And then all training was geared solely for the Olympics. Then I picked all my competition calendar around the games to try and give myself the best chance of peaking for the games, which fortunately worked exactly to plan pretty much. So that was very fortunate, but a lot of hard work behind the scenes from myself, my team, my family as well. It wouldn't be possible without the support of the family, that's for sure.
You've come into contact with a lot of shooters, and it's sort of been a funny year for shooting. You know, nothing disastrous has happened, but we're getting a few warning signals. So how do you feel shooting is both clay and game? You know, what's its health? How do people feel about it?
I think it's very healthy. I think there's a lot of people coming in on both sides of the shooting sports, on the game and the clay side. So I think we're in a very healthy state. I think it's very popular. There's a lot of interest, a lot of money spent on both sides, game and clay again, within the sport, which can only be good for the economy.
All that said, there are pressures facing shooting sports in the UK. Last week, in the run-up to Christmas 2024, the Westminster government laid out a timetable for a ban on lead shot.
On Friday the 13th of December, the Health and Safety Executive submitted its final restriction dossier to the government. Within that dossier, there was proposed restrictions for live quarry shooting with shotguns and clay target shooting with shotguns with a timeline of 5 years. There are also restrictions for ranges that cannot comply with best practice regarding de-leading. Small calibers below 243 face no restrictions at all. BAS will continue to lobby ministers going forwards to ensure that any legislation is proportionate and evidence-based.
There's also the problem of gun licensing. For the last couple of years, the police have been promising that licensing departments are getting better at handling demand. For reasons that are unclear, but they claim are to do with funding, the service from many firearms licensing departments nosedived after lockdown, putting public safety at risk. Some forces, such as Devon and Cornwall and Gwent, actively try to crack down on gun ownership, targeting society's most law-abiding citizens, gun owners. This is tying up those constabularies in lengthy and costly appeals. Other forces, such as Warwickshire and Lincolnshire, maintain the same good service to the public they always have. From the bad forces, the 4 main reasons for gun seizure, and this is from shooters going from certificate holder upstanding members of society almost to criminal status, so it's a punchy move by police forces. The 4 main reasons we are hearing about from our members are: firstly, a disgruntled partner or a relationship breakdown. Number 2, when the shooter is a victim of a crime or even if they witness a crime. Third, ignorance of their own medical records, and one case where an anti-gun surgery nurse added depression to a shooter's medical notes. And the 4th one, historical brushes with the police, even if no charges are brought. Under the new rules, what guarantees gun ownership is if you can show local police that you're rich enough to appeal if they revoke your certificate. That is the new reality. Here's the gun owner we featured last week.
Stu Miles from Dorset has been shooting for years, following a break-up with a partner recently and what was probably a complaint by her. Police took away his firearms. So far, these days, so normal. The problem is she's withdrawn that complaint and Dorset police are refusing to budge.
Whatever she may have said, it was a mistake. She doesn't feel threatened by me. She's happy. She's always felt that I've been safe with firearms. That she doesn't want it to affect my hobby, part of now my livelihood, my sponsorship deals. She doesn't want it to affect that.
For more about Stu's case, click on the link below. Despite the work ordinary shooters do looking after Britain's nature and wildlife, and despite the success of medalists such as Nathan and Peter, the government announces that it is pushing up the cost of certificates to as much as £400.
I think it is quite wrong to put up firearms licensing fees without dealing with the inefficiencies that bedevil so much of the system. I mean, to have constabularies, a quarter of constabularies, taking up to a year to process grants is quite unacceptable and wouldn't be tolerated if it was happening to passport holders or to people with driving licenses.
If I were the policing minister, I would probably say, well, isn't this a wonderful opportunity to fund those certificate departments properly so that we get, a good service from now on?
There is no guarantee that the money will go into firearms licensing departments because it goes into the general fund. But that's not the only reason why this is so disappointing. We have been asking for a meeting with the policing minister since the election and have been refused at every turn. We have an urgent request for a meeting in with her at present. If she goes ahead and tables this on the 6th of January without seeing us, she has effectively done so without any stakeholder consultation, without any public consultation, and with no transparency on the figures. And that would be unacceptable. What has been extraordinary to me is how this government appears to be unthinking in the way that it alienates constituencies.
It's a clear push by a remote urban political class to stamp out something they don't understand and that they think they don't like. The problem they have is that shooting sports remain enormously popular. The clay grounds are full. Show shooting in the countryside to kids and they love it. Our own Countryside Academy takes wildlife management into the classroom and it's popular. Even hunting trophies, something that the government wants to ban, are selling well at auction. And look how many people turn out for the traditional Boxing Day meets to see how other country sports are doing. Veggies can resign from the RSPCA as often as they desire. The British people don't like their brand of culture.
Is it Mount Olympus, I think, in the back?
Yeah, you would know more than.
Yeah, you've got the
Tower.
Eiffel Tower. That's very cool. Yeah, where's like London Bridge? That's not made an appearance, sadly. And the logo. The logo, is that the logo?
It is. It's the Paris logo. Paris logo and a piece of the Eiffel.
Cool.
Piece of the Eiffel Tower.
That is really cool.
Thanks Nathan and all who took part in that. Now, kit. Here's Will Hogan to talk about clothing from New Zealand, the Swazi Wapiti top.
So this is actually called the Wapiti XP, probably my favourite garment. I've got one of the older versions on where the hand warmer pockets were a bit lower down. So this coat's been developed over the last couple of years. So we've got a nice high storm cuff. We've now got a detachable hood, and then our hand warmers have been brought up a bit higher. So they're more on their chest there, whereas previously they were below our hand pockets. So nice high chest prop, and we've got snap cuffs within the actual jacket. Again, those are for if you're stood on your peg and you've got your cartridges in the bottom, you can get your hand in easier, having that snap pocket ability with nice drain holes at the bottom as well. So this would probably be sort of the main jacket that's most popular in the UK currently. We're really hopeful that this jacket, once we start getting it out there, is going to become popular with the driven game shooters.
I suppose you can stalk in that quite neatly, can you?
I'm hoping so. I'm going out in mine this evening. So yeah, this jacket has been developed with the cartridge pockets up a bit higher, the hand warmers geared towards the British game shooter. But that's not to say you can't stalk in the jacket. I go out in mine quite regularly, and yeah, more than okay to stalk in.
Thanks Will, and that's it for this week. Next week we are on a grey partridge shoot and we have a major new shotgun launch.
If you haven't done so already, please visit our website, fieldsportschannel.tv, where you can click to like us on Facebook and Instagram, follow us on X and TikTok, subscribe to us on YouTube, or pop your email address into our weekly newsletter box and we'll contact you about this show, Field Sports Britain. It's at 7 p.m. UK time every Wednesday. And this has been Field Sports Britain. Good hunting, good shooting, good fishing, happy Christmas, and goodbye.